Awesome. We are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Horizen Weekly Insider number 108. Today is October 18 of 2021. Thanks for joining us live here on Discord and YouTube. And please be aware that this call is being recorded and will also be available for you to check out later in our Horizen podcast in case you cannot make it to this call. Also, please remember to ask your questions on Menti for the team so we can answer them all at the end. Let's kick it off with our first update from the engineering department. I'll welcome now Alberto.
Thank you, Angie. So let's start from last week, where we talked about the research we have been conducting about a specific consensus for sidechains use cases that need super high transaction throughput. And we are talking about 1,000 transactions per second. So as you remember, we conducted the workshop, and then in the last days, we moved on by working on a design document that follows what we discussed in the workshop. And the next iteration will be a session to go through the document, to be able to finalize it, and then schedule the development activities. So for what regards Zendoo, we are continuing working on several documents for the technical specification for our partners in order to have them upgrade their integration with us. As mentioned last week, the guide for mining pools has been finalized and also shared. So now we're waiting for their feedback. And for what regards the other two guides, and I mean the guide for the exchanges and also the partners that are using our Explorer, we are currently finalizing them, and we're going to share everything in the next few days. And here we are talking about the technical specifications that are needed for upgrading Zendoo for this part. So let's move on with the ZK audit chain, where last week we finished working on the circuit implementation for the next and last milestone, internally called milestone 3. The unit tests for the circuit were also completed there. Okay, lastly, for what regards the next delivery, on the SDKA side, we have started the review of the design of the state restructuring. And these changes are, for example, needed to collect all the information that are needed to allow the generation of a state transition proof in a modular way when applying, validating the block transactions. I mean, for this part is needed because in the new SDK version, you will need to generate a proof for every transaction. And these proofs are, let me say, somehow connected to the current state of the blockchain. And considering also that the kind of transaction can be customized, in the design of the SDK, we want to provide a modular way for adding, let me say, the specific part that will generate the specific data that is needed for generating the specific proof for a state transition. In such a way, the developer will focus only on the specific components that are needed, and there will be an orchestrator that will be able to, call these components and collect the information and then generate the proof. So currently, we are in the design phase of this part of the changes, and we are moving on with the review of the document that is describing these changes. And one part of the design is also connected to these are the changes that we are also applying to the storage of the state, where we are conducting another design analysis, because we will, as I mentioned probably in the last Weekly Insider, we will have a way for storing the state in a more atomic way. And so by applying the transitions and then committing them all at once, also for, let me say, having a faster recovery if the node crashes in the middle of applying the state and so on. So this is another important part of the SDKA that we are currently working on. Okay, now let's go on with the proving system, where we completed the second round of review on the implementation of the endomorphism, and we call the endomul gadget. And a few other changes were requested, so we're addressing them, and next step will be final code review. Always on the Proof System side, we started the implementation for the refactoring of the Marlin repository, and is currently going on. Finally, on the circuit side, we are continuing working on the main chain block reference circuit, and so the implementation of it is currently ongoing. And I think that's all. Maybe Luca has something to add here.
Yeah, just wanted to say before we move on that here in the office today, we have one of the Zen legends, Gustavo. Want to say something?
Hey guys, just want to say hello to the community and just a little backstory. The last time I was here, it was still pre-COVID in our old office, and after 1.5 years, and you guys, you know how hard this been last 2 years has been, and it's incredible how much the team has grown this past year and how much the work they are tackling now. So definitely exciting times ahead, and I'm happy to be here.
Glad to have you here, Gustavo. Back to you, Angie.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alberto, Luca, for the great updates. Also hearing about you, Gustavo. I hope you're having a great time at the office. I think everyone misses you. And okay, awesome. So let's continue with the BD updates, and I'll welcome now Vano.
Thanks, Angie. Hey, everyone. So as we know, Grayscale has Grayscale Horizen Trust that enables investors to gain exposure to Zen in the form of a security. And every trust there starts as a private placement and then goes through the multi-step process for greater liquidity and market access. And today, Grayscale announced that they have received approval for the public quotations of eligible shares of their Grayscale Horizen Trust, which means that this trust has begun trading under symbol of HZEN on the OTC EQX market, which is provided and operated by the OTC Markets Group. Now, this means that the trust has been elevated to publicly traded security, and all qualified investors can get exposure to Horizen as a publicly quoted security on a US market. Great to see the continued support for our ecosystem from Grayscale and DCG. And that's all from me. Back to you, Angie.
Thank you, Vano. Next, we have Lucy with the marketing updates.
Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. So last week, we officially released the announcement for the Zendoo Testnet. This is a major milestone and really the last step before launching Zendoo to mainnet. So really congratulations to our engineering team. It's a huge accomplishment. And I know everyone worked really, really hard on delivering that milestone. And so if you are developers, you can start play with the latest version of Zendoo on the production-like environment testnet. You can get the instructions and free testnet through our early adopt program website. And also in the announcement, we mentioned that we were going to launch a bounty program, a bug bounty program with the largest and the most prominent ethical hacker platform, HackerOne. The bounty program has been activated today, actually. So it's currently in private mode, which means it's invitation only. Only eligible hackers vetted by HackerOne will be invited to participate. We will open the program up to the public in the future. So once that happens, we will notify our developer community. So please make sure that you are enrolled our early adopt program so you can be notified for something like that. And then also to celebrate the Zendoo testnet release, we are hosting a community giveaway. Everyone who participates will have a chance to win some Zen or some Horizen swag. Also, we published a really good article created by Toju from our team. The article is called Bring in NFTs to the Enterprise World Using Zero-Knowledge Proofs. The article describes the NFT trend, the enterprise opportunities, and the missing link connecting NFTs and enterprise adoptions. So that missing link is privacy. Toju explains in the article how Horizen technology can leverage zero knowledge to tackle the privacy issues and bring the real world adoption to of NFTs. So it's a very educational and then also very insightful. I strongly recommend it. Please check it out if you haven't yet. Tojo also has written about other interesting topics, and we will publish them this week and in the coming weeks. So really a lot of great reading materials coming your way. We also integrated our RSS newsfeed with the crypto.com. So that means people who visit the Horizen project page on crypto.com can read our latest news. So we have a lot more exciting news in our pipeline the next few weeks. Stay tuned. And I believe Erica has some updates about Ambassador program. Erica?
Hey everyone, happy Monday. So Manon and I have been working to put together some new ideas and plans for the Ambassador program, and I'm really excited about some of the ideas we've come up with. This new plan will include some additional HDE tasks and rolling out some new ideas that we've come up with. HDE tasks will include content creation and testing out Zendoo on Testnet. We also are coming up with other ways to participate in the greater Horizen ecosystem and earn Zen. Our ambassador, Paul, last week also wrote a really great article about his journey as an ambassador. So the article covers recent project updates for Horizen and just his overall experience in the program. So please give it a check out. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Lucy and Erica, for the updates. Now let's continue with Rosario for the product and engineering section.
Hi, everyone. It's also calling in from the Milan office. Great to see Gustavo and to continue working with our engineering and product teams here in Milan. So for those that didn't necessarily catch this, but just to expand on one of Lucy's comment regarding HackerOne. So Zendoo is on the public testnet, which is a great milestone for us. And we've joined forces with HackerOne because we want to continue making Zendoo a very robust and secure blockchain. So this is a major upgrade, and we do want this separate set of eyes. And just also another reminder is that we've conducted 2 audits on Zendoo so far. And we hired companies that were related to the specific area. So one was a blockchain, and then the other one is a company, NCC, focused on the zero knowledge components. So Zendoo is already been audited by third parties, but we want to welcome additional individuals to make the Zendoo blockchain very secure. So a focus area for us as a team is to open up the ecosystem. Zendoo is the first step to get us there. Zendoo enables sidechains. So now that Zendoo is met this major milestone, and as we continue growing our team, we've been going through, at least from the product side, going through a little bit of a reorg and adjusting things just to be able to onboard developers quickly onto our team and to just make work a bit more efficient on our end. And a big thanks to Zane and John for leading this effort and transitioning us to a more agile approach. So we've completed the first part of that organization. We've formed the tools team, which I've mentioned before. And the tools team is a very important team within the product department, because this is the team that's going to be creating developer tools for both sidechains and the main chain, and for developers creators to be able to build on our ecosystem with ease. And and of course, right now the focus of the tools team is Zendoo compatibility, which we are moving along very nicely on that. But we will be expanding that as we also grow the team and just move. Once we migrate Zendoo to mainnet, we will be expanding their tools from themselves. We've also formed a team that we internally call the sidechains team, and they are the team that works with design partners to create sidechains on specific use cases called ZK Audit and GameChain, among others, that we've had also working with our partner Dash. And this sidechain team has also transitioned to an agile framework. So we're going through a little bit of a rework internally, and just making this transition very smooth. So the sidechain team is working on a project called Zeni, and we've announced that. And John gave you some insights last time. So Zeni token continues being refined in scope. The big part of last week that happened was a collaboration between Alberto and others, just to and Zane and bringing the team together to make sure that the design of the Zeni token enables multi-token. So initially it's going to be a single token, but we want to make sure that we have the ability to have a tokenization platform that is able to issue multiple tokens in itself. And that's it for now. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Rosario. Let's welcome now Rob for the leadership updates and the Q&A session.
Hello, everyone. I'm also here in the Milan office with the usual crew and our special guests visiting. For OpSec purposes, I won't mention anyone else other than Gustavo, who's already been announced. But yeah, some really big news, and you've already heard Vando mention the Grayscale Horizen Trust actually had a public quotation issue or announcement today, which is just absolutely huge. Now, just to go a little bit into the details for what this means. This basically means that, or not basically, this means that shares of the Horizen Trust are now publicly available to anyone with a brokerage account in the United States. So you can buy Zen through this vehicle as easily as you can buy a stock, a bond, shares of a gold trust on the marketplace. So it's a huge step forward. And to my knowledge, there are only 9 total products like this available on the market, at least through Grayscale. So it's a really big step for us. And it really opens up the ecosystem big time to participation from people that are just maybe a little nervous or hesitant to get directly into cryptocurrency and have a wallet and go and manage private keys yourself, or even open up a cryptocurrency specific exchange. Now you can just go to your traditional brokerage account in the US and you can buy Zen. So it's a huge step forward, and huge thank you to the Grayscale team, obviously, but also on our side, I want to do a big shout out here to Dean. Dean actually did a huge amount of work on the legal side, just prepping documentation with Grayscale to submit it to regulators. And finally, on this is a big signal, I think, to the marketplace in general, that we are one of the handful of projects that has been through rigorous regulatory scrutiny, at least for this specific product that Grayscale has released. So that's a really big deal overall, and just wanted to highlight that a little bit more so you guys can understand the implications. So two other big themes that have been going around here internally as we're just driving through a bunch of strategy conversations over the last couple of weeks while I'm in town. The two big themes are compatibility and interoperability. So as we are ranking projects and going through priorities for 2022, because we already have a kind of a ridiculous roadmap for the next few months leading to the end of the year. So everything going through 2021 is really set in stone, and we're just in execution mode. But what we're doing is we're planning quite deeply what we're going to be doing this next year, because we realize how important of a point in our history as a project this is, because we have been going for a long time now on transforming ourselves from a cryptocurrency-based blockchain now to one where you can do a lot more on it. Now we need to think very carefully through what is that lot more going to be, right? How are we going to enable it? So as we really decompose the big mandate was opening up the ecosystem. Well, opening up the ecosystem, I think, is greatly facilitated through compatibility and interoperability. So now that we're getting Zendoo to mainnet, and I see there's a question on Menti that we'll answer specifically in Q&A, but just to reiterate, what is Zendoo? Zendoo is an interoperability protocol at its heart, which means that fundamentally we can have many different blockchains launched in our ecosystem that are networked with each other. And by networked, I specifically mean that we can have Zen go back and forth between main chain to sidechains, and in the future, hopefully sidechains to sidechains. And it also means that we can send proofs from sidechains back to the main chain and have them verified on the main chain for other types of information beyond just Zen. Right, so this is what Zendoo is. Zendoo is not in itself a blockchain. Zendoo is not in itself a specific consensus. In fact, it's actually consensus agnostic, which is part of the power of Zendoo, actually. We're not delivering something very specific here. We're delivering something general and massively scalable. Now, what we're doing is we're not just delivering this interoperability protocol, we're delivering a specific set of consensus products with it. And here's where we get into talking about some of the things that you've already heard the team talk about, like PGD, the fast fast Ouroboros consensus that Alberto mentioned recently with 1,000 transactions per second capability. Here's where we talk about things like Lattice, the fully decentralized recursive proof Ouroboros version that we've been developing. And it could also mean plenty of other different types of consensus will be launched in the Horizen ecosystem, and they absolutely will be. Even things like having an Ethereum virtual machine are absolutely capable with Zendoo, but this is not something that you're going to get out of the box with Zendoo. So I just want to set expectations, but also set the promise for the massive, kind of opportunities that are right in front of us. Because we have such a large opportunity set, we really do need to think about how we're going to focus our resources. And this is why we're thinking through strategic themes, again, compatibility and interoperability. So as we're doing this, we are very much aware that there has been an amazing amount of innovation throughout this industry across the board, right? You can look at the top projects out there, not just Ethereum, but other projects out there that have had really big breakthroughs in specific technology and really big breakthroughs and communities and developer communities and applications that have been built on them. We have every intention of leveraging this to the max and doing what we can to be completely interoperable and compatible with everything that's been going on out there. More to come, and timing and sequencing is really what it comes down to, but some really good conversations we've been having here. So to wrap it up, I do want to say that we have been absolutely relentless in developing this project and this ecosystem. We're constantly laying foundations, and even just this year, just to highlight a few of them, besides the deep technical foundations that we've been laying with Zendoo, and then all of the other products and projects that are going along with it, the different types of consensuses, we had a Coinbase Pro listing, and then we had a Coinbase listing, and now we just got a Horizen investment trust shares issued to the public marketplace, right? So these are things that are unique, and in combination really do set us apart from other projects that are out there in the marketplace. There are plenty of really good ones, but there aren't that many really good ones, right? And we certainly are laying the groundwork so that we're in that set and constantly innovating and constantly expanding access to our ecosystem and just the maturity of it across the board. So that's what I've got, and we can open it up to any Q&A. I don't know if we have any questions come through on Minty.
Yes, we do. Thank you, Rob, for the updates. And as well, thank you, everybody, for contributing with your questions. So I see some very good ones and very specific ones as well. The first one is, what can we do on Zendoo on Testnet?
Have at it, Alberto. Okay. Pretend you're a white hatter or someone who wants to build.
Okay, let's say that, on Testnet, what we have released on Testnet is the full Zendoo implementation. So this means that the Zendoo node on Testnet, let me say, implements the full protocol that is described in the paper. So, for example, you can build a sidechain application that will provide will have his own history, okay, completely decoupled from mainchain, but then able to interact with the mainchain and exchange coins with the mainchain by, let me say, in a decoupled way. So, for example, by providing a certificate with a zero-knowledge proof that validates such transfers. So, the first version of the SDK is already compatible with the mainnet, with the testnet version of Zendoo, and is providing, let me say, a specific proof for the certificate. And so you would be able, for example, to launch or to customize the SDK with your own specific logic. And then provide, let me say, the certificate, having the sidechain providing the certificate to the mainchain and exchange the transfers between the two chains. So this will be possible is already possible on Testnet right now. The next step will be to release, other two things in parallel. One is as Rob mentioned before, the fast consensus, let me say, version of the SDK. And the other one will be, let me say, the full proving, let's say, the full history proven SDK version that will generate, let me say, the most complex zero knowledge proof that proves the whole history of the sidechain. So let me say, this is let me say, a panoramic of what is possible right now and what will be possible in the very next future. I don't know, Rob, if you have anything to add.
No, that was great. Although, Angie, for FYI, I do have a little bit of a bonus thing that I want to say at the end.
Of course. Okay, so let's see. The second question is, can we get a node technical requirement roadmap before the release of Zendoo for hardware planning purpose?
Okay, I don't know, Chronic, if you want to take that. Chronic, not sure if you are online listening. There is a question. Let's see. It's.
I mean, we can. Meanwhile, Chronic gets ready.
I'm resuming the question. So it's, can we get a node technical requirement roadmap before the release of Zendoo for hardware planning purpose?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. We are, as I mentioned previously, we are already preparing the documentation for the partners. So we will also create a specific document that declares the technical specifications for running the Zendoo node, let me say, in a way that verifies block and all the things in a fast way. And so we already had some tests, performance tests, benchmarks that shown us what are the minimal requirements. And we're currently working for having a document that will specify them and inform all the node operators about the minimum.
Perfect. Back to you, Angie.
Can I just jump? This is Rolf. Can I just jump in and add a little bit more to that question? And the reason it's asking, because a lot of us folks that run nodes run it on older hardware, and the newer versions of Zen are using some specific capabilities that are in newer microprocessors. And so, for example, I'm ordering 2 new servers with newer Intel processors to be able to do the new version of Zen. It would be nice to know, though, if like there's going to be future requirements, perhaps for Lattice or other things that are going to use even newer parts of the processors, because I don't like to buy equipment that often. So if there's going to be something maybe 6 months to a year that comes out, so that I would, instead of buying a 4-year-old server, I would buy a 3 or 2-year-old server, just so I knew that. And I think that's what the question for the roadmap is.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, Rob, totally agree. I mean, during the development, we have been very, let me say, careful in not, let me say, making the computation too expensive. So we worked a lot on finding ways for optimizing from the node perspective, the block verification. And these include, let me say, also some strategy for even batching the proofs within a block. So, I mean, maybe, I don't know if it was to mention, but even if we have, let me say, a bunch of proofs, a bunch of certificates in a block coming from different sidechains even, and so we developed a mechanism that is able to, let me say, optimize their verification in a way that is able to batch them. And one of the most expensive part in proof verification is done just once. So we expect not to be, too impacting in terms of requirement, but for sure there are some, the oldest one, the oldest PCs are not going to probably be enough. But yeah, I totally agree. We have to speed up the publication of the document in a way that everybody, let me say, can upgrade as soon as possible. Good point. Thank you.
Yeah, and Alberto, this is Rolf again. So, and so totally agree with the idea of using the advanced features of processors, and so I fully support that. I don't have an issue with it at all. It's just we know that Lattice is going to be different than Zendoo, and there might be other things in the future. So, if there's even other features of processors that aren't for sure being used but are may be considered, that'd be good information also.
Right. And yeah, I would add even another thing. I mean, on the sidechain side, the sidechains node that are going. So I'm not speaking about node operators just running the Zendoo, but maybe node operators that are running a sidechain node instance, and that will generate, if they want, even the proofs. I mean, the proof generation mechanism is, let me say, optimized in a way that leverages GPUs. So even node operators that have GPUs will have the possibility to, let me say, increment their performances in the generation of the proofs, and having obviously more rewards for that because it's going to be more efficient, the proof generation. But this is just, let me say, it's separated from the Zendoo release, but I mean something that maybe can be useful just to mention here.
Cool, thanks.
Thank you. Back to you, Angie.
Awesome. And the third and final question is, what is the current timeline for Zendoo now? When mainnet and SDK release?
Well, so we mentioned this in the previous call. We're scheduling. It's looking like we're going to be going live the first week in December is when we're targeting. And with SDK releases, I don't know if Alberto, you have anything more specific on that. I mean, the goal was to cluster these things, but we are kind of doing some original work here.
Right. So, I mean, beyond the let me say, Zendoo release on mainnet that is proceeding as scheduled, we will have the SDKA release that is proceeding in parallel. I mean, and these will be maybe a little bit later than the Zendoo mainnet release. But I think that in the next few months is going to publish also the SDKA release that will provide the full proof of the history. Also, because I mean, in these months, we have been also focused on providing the solutions for the projects that we partner with, and these are also an important part of the things that we have been doing in these months, because show, I mean, for example, with Celsius, how the sidechain system is powerful and what are the possible use cases that we can build with. So we decided to provide precedence to these projects because I mean, we saw the value of having real use cases out there, and that shows I mean how the Zendoo model can be used.
Great. And before we wrap up, I know there's a special announcement that Rosario would like to make, so I'll pass the mic to her.
Hey, Angie, I'd like to introduce a new team member. He's part of the tools team. His name is Sean. Sean, would you like to just introduce yourself to our community?
Yeah, thanks, Rosario. Yeah, my name is Sean Gould. I'm really excited to have joined Horizen, especially at this time when there's so much exciting new technology we're bringing into the world. In deciding to come to Horizen, I was really persuaded by my interaction with Zane, with my interaction with Rob, just seeing how thoughtful they were and how seriously they took, blockchain's potential for good in the world. And I'm really, really excited to be learning about, the use of sidechains and, the incredible value zero knowledge proofs bring to the trustless nature of the blockchain. And yeah, it's been great. This is my second week, and I'm excited for all the learning I'm doing.
Great. And So excited to have you on the team. And back to Rob.
All right, guys, I am going to make the most bland unannouncement of an announcement, but basically there was a very important design session earlier today for a project that some weeks ago I mentioned to you guys that we had two big BD projects in the pipeline. One you've heard about already, which was the Bored Ape Yacht Club that Horizen Labs is partnering with and doing a big, really big project with. But the other was something that is still unannounced. And Dean, don't worry, I'm not going to announce the particular project. I just wanted to say that the design session happened today that, number one, I was forbidden to join. Rosario wouldn't let me join because she wanted the guys to focus. But I did get a debrief afterwards, and just really fantastic, this other project that's ongoing. That if it works out, it looks like we're going to be able to deliver something that the target is by the end of the year, have a POC, working with a very prominent project in the crypto space and also a very prominent bank on something that is very cool that they're looking to decentralize using zero knowledge. So a lot of really fun stuff going on, and that's probably all I'm going to say. So basically announcing that I'm not really announcing anything in particular, but hey, it's really cool.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for providing your updates. So this is it. Thank you to the community that joins us every week for the latest Horizen updates. Remember, we do this every Monday for everyone's awareness of the project. So have a great week, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great week.
Bye, guys.